What sets us apart from other fitness and training programs is that we target the brain as the primary area that we want to optimize function while we move. And the reason for that is your brain is behind everything that makes you you in your life, everything behind your personality and how you move through the world, how you interact in the world, and how you perceive your world is due to brain function. And your brain and the nervous system are the governing systems of the entire body. So when we talk about movement, we directly are talking about brain function. Your nervous system is made up of neurons, and basically neurons need two things to stay alive. They need fuel and they need activation. So when we talk about fuel, we're talking about breathing and food. And when we're talking about activation, we're talking about, sensory input, movement, learning, etc. So your brain is a use it or lose it organ. There's no such thing as maintenance. And these neurons stay alive through constant stimulation. And you can think of your brain as a skill-based organ, and it's constantly trying to preserve energy. So your brain is a gas hog. It's about 3 pounds of mass and uses 25 to 30% of your daily calories by itself. And we want to make our brain and our body more energy efficient for survival reasons. So neurons can get injured from disuse or from injury. And when we look at that, we consider everybody an athlete because everything is a skill. And you're either getting better at what you're practicing or you're getting worse at what you're not practicing. And you can consider this, there's a basic fundamental law of human physiology called the SAID principle. And what it breaks down to is basically the body always adapts to exactly what it does. So from our take, everyone's an athlete. Whether you're a mom athlete or a desk athlete or a professional athlete, we all need to be able to turn and push and pull and hinge and lunge and squat with different amounts of force and energy exerted. And we want to make sure that we're setting you up for awesome movement and awesome movement skills. So the take-home message with this is that if you want certain results, you've got to train with precision. So let's talk about the nervous system a little bit more. The 3 basic functions of the nervous system are to receive input, to interpret what does this information mean, and what do we do about it. And then the third function is to then create what's called a motor output. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth here. The 3 major input systems are kind of like satellites talking to your brain. If your brain was a GPS, these sensory systems are satellites that are communicating to help you get from point A to point B in the most efficient way. And the first satellite is called exteroception. And basically, exteroception is your 5 senses. It's monitoring the external environment and helping you decide if there's danger around you and what to do about that and how to interact in your immediate environment around and outside of your body. The second input system is called interoception. And interoception is basically your awareness of bodily sensations and feelings. It is in direct communication with your digestion, your breathing. It directly impacts inflammation, hormones, your immune system. It is your entire physiologic system. It's also the main behavior center of the brain, and it's where your vestibular system or your inner ear feeds into. It helps us to kind of orient ourselves in the world and attach meaning to all incoming input. The third sensory input system is called proprioception. And proprioception is basically your awareness of your body and limb position in time and space. So it gives you information about stretch and joint angles and temperature or pressure or force, and it's pretty much your 3D map of your body in time and space. So when we look at the brain, this is where we integrate, interpret, and decide what does the incoming information mean and what do we do with it. And the number one job of the brain is survival. We are wired more for survival than we are performance. 90% of brain function is geared towards deciding, is this safe? What do I do with this? Can I eat it? Can I mate with it? Etc. So our brain keeps us alive through something called pattern recognition, or better put, prediction. Basically, your brain is updating against real time all of your past life experiences, and it's comparing, going, hey, have I smelled this smell before? Have I heard that sound before? Have I seen that shape before? And what did it mean? Am I safe? I love this photo here in the bottom right-hand corner. The first time I saw it, I saw a bunny, and the person next to me saw a duck. And it was just a great example of how each of our nervous systems uniquely pick up information and then make a decision based off of what's unique to our life experience. The second job of our brain is movement. And I love this quote here. I'm going to go ahead and read it for you. We have a brain for one reason and one reason only. That's to produce adaptable and complex movements. Movement is the only way we have of affecting the world around us. I believe that to understand movement is to understand the whole brain. And therefore, it is important to remember that when you're studying memory, cognition, sensory processing, they're there for a reason, and that is action. Dr. Daniel Wolpert. So that takes us to something called the threat neuromatrix. Basically, modern pain science shows that our brain is like a bucket collecting threats almost like water. And if you didn't sleep well the night before, or maybe you're deficient in certain nutrients, or if one of your eyes doesn't work as well as the other, or maybe your balance isn't so great, all these things start to build up. If you had a fight with your spouse, work stress, money stress, all threats collectively go into the nervous system equally. And at some point, when the level rises high enough, we start to get something called protective outputs. So when we talk about outputs, we're talking about skeletal muscular movement, blood pressure, heart rate, respiration rate, reflexes, etc. So if you can think of your brain kind of like if you were driving in fog and you didn't know where you were going, you would start to slow your car down and drive with caution. Your brain does the exact same thing to your body, and it creates pain, fatigue, immobility, inflexibility, dizziness, poor movement, poor balance, migraines, high blood sugar, low immune function, etc. And all of these outputs are designed to make you stop what you're doing because your brain doesn't trust you because things feel unpredictable. And on the flip side of that, as we start to improve your input systems and improve the interpretation of those signals, we start to develop pain-free movement, good coordination, strength, speed, great balance, awesome hormonal balance, and immune health, and honestly, a sharp mind and better cognition. And that's what we're going for when we're training with people. So when we look at the threat neuromatrix at work, you can see with this client here, she actually came to see me because she had pretty severe shoulder and neck pain for the last 2 years. And you can see it's pretty uncomfortable for her to lift her arm. So when I took her history, this was a initial consultation. She told me she had a lot of whiplash injuries and concussions. And based off of what I know about the brain, I decided to give her some pinhole glasses and some earplugs in order to reduce sound and light to the part of her brain that processes sound and light. And all of a sudden, she got full range of motion of her shoulder without pain for the first time in 2 years, which was really, really awesome. And this is where we usually start with our clients when we do individual coaching. When we talk about, what's kept you from getting to your goals in the past, a lot of times we have breaks on our nervous system that we're not even aware of because of old injuries or whatever is in our history. And by using that roadmap, we can start to identify areas that need improvement. This next client came to see me for elbow pain, and he was feeling it particularly when he did snatches above his head. So I watched him do his snatches. You can see he's kind of leaning to the left here. He's kind of floppy. It's a little uncoordinated. He can't bring his arm by his ear. And he had been coached for 3 years already on how to do a snatch, so I wasn't going to give him any technique cueing. So instead, based off his history, I gave him some vibration on the left side of his tongue, and you can see his head points up. He actually finds up as a direction. He can lock out. He's way more stable, and the bell becomes lighter. And he didn't have any pain. And again, this had to do with his specific health history. He had a couple of facial fractures that were important. So when we look at our training, what we're trying to focus on is building strong, efficient movement while optimizing brain function. And we're looking at 6 different components of that. We like to look at the whole picture of health and fitness. Most health and fitness professionals focus on strength, conditioning, mobility, and some coordination, but there's a lot more to the picture. A lot of systems create tools to accomplish these pillars, but what happens? We create the tool, and then the tool creates us. Here at Neuro Train, we look at movement as an endless possibility of movement fluency training. We want to bring joints through their full range of motion with different coordinated loads under different coordinated speeds in order to create the most accurate predictive movement map possible. When we look at strength and mobility, they really go hand in hand. Ideally, we want to increase and strengthen new ranges of motion in order to create injury-resistant joints. And with greater mobility, we open the door to new movement possibilities. Also, building strength through a wide variety of movements helps develop the ability to overcome life's obstacles and make life easy. When we talk about conditioning and coordination, we're talking about improving fitness capacity with respiration, speed, agility, and endurance training. Basically, you want to have fun sweating and working to earn the body that you have always wanted. With coordination, you want to think of it as controlling the body well. And when you're doing that, you're increasing your brain function, allowing you to create more power and move with more grace. Moving well directly impacts your quality of life and your performance at work and play. Smiling and having fun helps build community, and it brings joy to training. We're big fans of games, sports, new ways of training, and camaraderie, really building a community. And I definitely hope that you join our Facebook group so you guys can support one another as you're working towards your health and fitness goals. Recovery is absolutely necessary when it comes to proper training. Most people want to train like a professional athlete, but they don't want to rest like a professional athlete. And we don't have the time. We have to go to work, or we have to take care of our families, or go to the grocery store. And so a big thing here is learning how to work at your own pace, letting your breathing kind of drive the intensity of your workout, and learning how to let your body recover through awesome nutrition and different things that are out there, to include red light therapy or sunlight. And that's where the individual coaching piece is key. Obviously, the app gives you a general awesome foundation and blueprint to follow to start building that injury-resistant map. But when it comes to the nuts and bolts of how to get you to where you want to go individually, individual and group coaching can be super awesome to help you maximize those results. Culturally, we've been inundated with a toxic message of what health is supposed to look like. Everywhere you turn, there's a new diet you should try with a new pill that will work, and images of skinny, lean, athletic-looking people on every health and fitness ad I see. But when you really think about it, what constitutes health? Being in the health and fitness industry for over 15 years, I have cycled through several iterations of different diets, supplements, and fitness trends, and it seems like the more I learned, the less I knew, and the more confusing it all became. I went paleo low carb for a few years, and while it was the leanest I had ever been, I soon began to break down with injuries that wouldn't completely heal. I switched to flexible dieting, eating organic foods, and taking supplements, and I started feeling better for a couple of years until my immune system started to tank. I started getting sick multiple times a year with different colds and viruses. About 2 years into that, I ended up in a car accident that gave me chronic pain from my neck to my tailbone and in my hands and feet. I had a concussion that completely changed my ability to function at a normal level in my life. My PMS was awful every cycle. I had pretty severe insomnia, and my emotional well-being was hitting an all-time low. I was still doing everything I thought I knew to do to become healthy, but none of it was working. This is when I started learning about neuroscience and started healing my body with different neuro drills. After a year of seeing the pain go away and my cognition improving, I was introduced to the teachings of Dr. Ray Peat, Dr. Broda Barnes, Kate Deering, Danny Roddy, Georgi Dinkov, and many other medical doctors, PhDs, health practitioners, and nutritional researchers. Since then, all of my chronic pain is completely gone. I sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. I bounce back from stressful situations faster. I recover from my workouts faster. My PMS is completely gone, and I actually feel happy and relaxed. I'm still healing my body, and it's getting stronger, but I'm finally able to work out regularly again without feeling like I was hit by a bus. Lastly, I want to talk about how we are different when it comes to how we approach nutrition. We focus on things through a bioenergetic approach. So when we're looking at the metabolism, we're looking at the total sum of all of the metabolic processes that are happening in your body. And when you have a high functioning metabolism, your body temperature is up. It's between 97.8 and 98.6 degrees throughout the day. Your pulse is going to be around 75 BPM to 90 at rest. You're going to have warm feet, warm hands, and a nose all day. You're going to have 1 to 3 bowel movements a day. You'll be urinating 4 to 5 times a day, not 10 to 12. And you'll be sleeping and getting awesome, uninterrupted recovery sleep for 7 to 9 hours a night. It's really important that you feel happy and content, that you have good energy all day, that your hormone function is healthy, and then you've got an awesome, healthy sex drive. If you're a female, you're not dealing with PMS, and you're fertile. Your hair looks great. You've got smooth, healthy skin, strong nails, strong bones, and you're able to maintain your weight without dieting and excessive exercise in order to maintain your weight. When we look at our whole picture of training, we want to make sure that we are reducing stress and stress hormones in the body, improving metabolic function, improving muscle recovery, and improving strength, stamina, endurance, coordination, and that you're having fun while you do it. Have an awesome time on this challenge, and I look forward to meeting you.